Well, bam! Welcome back to the channel, everyone. Thanks for tuning in. You're watching the VSO Gun Channel, and today we're going to be cleaning a suppressor. So, there's just a whole lot of folks that are getting into suppressors these days that would not otherwise have done so. And I just think there's a lot of misinformation and misconception about cleaning and maintaining these devices and what it takes. And so that's what we're going to do here today. Now, what you have in front of you is a Rugged Suppressors Obsidian 45. This is a fantastic device. I've had it for about a decade now, and it has served me very, very well. Highly, highly recommended. And Rugged Suppressors doesn't pay me to say that, but they could, and I would absolutely take their money. So, Rugged, call me. That said, like I said, I had this thing for about 10 years now, and I've cleaned it maybe twice the entire time I've had it. So this thing is going to be filthy inside. And there are lots of different ways to clean and maintain your suppressor. And today what we're going to be doing is taking a look at a product that is available. So this one is a cleaning kit specifically for suppressors from Otis Technology. They are friends of the channel. And so I've not opened this. I have no idea what's in here. I have some, I can see through it, so I can see some of what's in here. But we will see what they say to do, and I will evaluate on whether that is a good thing to do or not. So we got some CLP, set of gloves, very good. So that's one of the gloves. I'll put that in my pile for later. We have kind of like a bottle brush type thing. I'm assuming that that is going to be the right diameter. Yeah, look at that. That is the proper diameter for kind of like standard suppressor body type thing. A nylon brush. This is suppressor cleaner concentrate. Supposed to be mixed 1-to-1 ratio of suppressor cleaner fluid to warm/hot water. We've got a steel brush, and we have a copper brush, and then some more stuff down here at the bottom. Come on, Aller. Yeah. Microfiber, and the other glove. All right, concentrate, smoking hot water. I don't know if that's coming off or not. I don't want it to get on my lens, so we'll move that over there. And we're going to do the soak method today. Well, sort of modified soak method. We're going to pretend that this is a non-user serviceable device for the first stage of this video, and that I'm going to take the end caps off and just sit it in there per instruction. It's supposed to be 24 to 48 hours. I don't have 48 hours. I do have 24 hours, though. And we're just going to see what kind of rains out of it from that. So, anyway, end caps off. So, we're going to go ahead and do... In we go. I'm trying not to splash it all over my lens. So, if I add all these parts, maybe it'll bring the level up a little bit. And then I will be back in 24 hours to see how that looks. It's already starting to turn color down here. Alrighty, so I definitely lied. This has not been sitting here for 24 hours. This was sitting here for 72 hours. You guys saw the time lapse. So it has had plenty of time to soak, more than the manufacturer recommends. There's a fair amount of junk in there, which was kind of my whole idea, was to showcase how much comes out by just letting it sit. And I guess we will fit all the liquid. Suppressor body. The other components, and these actually look halfway decent. Right off the bat, we're just going to go ahead and none of this stuff, you know, for the threads, we can just go ahead and get all that out. Same thing here. These parts don't really need a whole lot of attention. There is an O-ring in this design, so you want to make sure that that's all right, but you also don't want to super scrub on it with something like this because you don't want to damage that O-ring. It helps it not backflow. The spring, the things that you want to do to your spring for your Nielsen device, the way that this works is this slides on here like that, right? There are two parts, or two surfaces that interact with the can. So the first one is obviously the inside, and then the outside of the spring interacts with the can body. So just for the ease of making sure everything works together, we're just going to take our brush and we're just going to run it on the outside of that spring, just to peel some of that trash off that's on the outside. And again, it doesn't need to be super clean, doesn't need to be anything ridiculous. It's never going to shine again unless you're like super duper about it. And then same thing on the inside. We're just going to take that brush and run it on the inside. Piston. Nylon brush inside, hit those threads, make sure that we're good. This is kind of like a self-cleaning section right here, so you can scrub this if you would like, but for the most part, you can see I haven't really done anything on this. It's just dried out, and it looks relatively clean there. The part that you want to pay attention to is here. You can see that a fair amount of that has kind of fallen off just from the 72-hour soak. There's gunk on there. You want to feel how much gunk is there on this surface, because this is an important bearing surface. The way that this hones itself is each of those flange represents a position. So it can be here, like this, or it can be here, or it can be here. But then also this surface interacts with that can body. So we want to make sure that that is clean. I don't know that I can actually... Yeah, I don't think I'm going to be able to get a picture of that, but I will try. Right here up front. So we want to actually scrub on that and see if we can remove a decent amount of any junk that's on there. And you'll be able to feel whether it's something that you should be working with or not. If it is relatively uniform, that's what matters. And I'm going to call that one clean enough. Ugh. All right, so just a little bit of extra persuasion in the vise to get that front module off, like we did before. Nylon brush into those threads. I could probably get this to work on this module, but I'm probably gonna need to take this and beat it with a hammer. But the way that this works is this, I've tapered this so that it will fit in there right like that. And if I apply some force to it, then it will push those baffles right out. Now, that's on this mini stack. I don't expect that we're going to see similar behavior out of this one, but I could be wrong, so we'll give her a shot. Oh, look at that. It comes right out. Holy crap, man. That soak did a really, really good job. I did not expect it to be that clean. So let's go ahead and we'll set the small module aside here, just so I don't get anything mixed up here. And see, yeah, those are going to come right apart. Again, we're just going to take some of that goop from the cleaning solution, which if you don't have that, then you are just using dish soap and water. And we're just going to start hitting that. And our goal, again, is not actually to get all that stuff off. The goal is to get those surfaces between those those baffles to be clean enough to fit back together. But we can also knock a decent amount of this off. So what I'm going to do first is I'm going to use this copper brush on one of them to show you kind of how difficult this is to get off, and then I'm going to go ahead and use that steel brush next. Alright, so on the right here, we have the one cleaned with a copper brush, and then the one on the left here, we have the one cleaned with the steel brush. And we are specifically looking for this surface where they interact. So there's a key here. So these are keyed baffles, and then they basically snap together there. So the last thing that we have to do to make sure that these fit properly is then go around the inside of that rim, and you can see there's a pile of gunk right there. That is going to impede putting them together properly. So take your steel brush around on the inside and just hit that internal rim to make sure that the thing's going to fit together. The body of the can here. So we have this brush right here. I'm going to go ahead and get just a little bit of our soapy water, and we're just going to go in and push it through. Again, there shouldn't be a whole lot. If you've got a tube and baffle can, then most of that stuff is going to be captured inside the baffles themselves, but you will get a little bit of leak through. So we're just kind of giving it a little bit of love in there to make sure that it goes back together. Now, if there is one product that you must absolutely have in your cleaning supplies from Otis, it's this stuff right here. It's the quick scrub. I use this shit on everything, and suppressors are no different. I use this after I finish cleaning. I'd basically use this to blast everything clean, and it's volatile, so it all dries. Now let's go ahead and put it back together, and in the process of putting it back together, we're going to prep it for the next time we want to clean and maintain it 10 or 20,000 rounds from now. So first things first, the threads on the front module, and we're going to do the front module first because I think that it's easier to do the obsidian if you put the front module together first. So first things first, I've also taken a little bit of that CLP that I just put on those threads and I've smeared it on the stacks, but the stacks are nice and clean so they come apart relatively easily, so I'm not going to pick them up. But I've just coated a light coat of oil or CLP or something on there, and the reason we do that is that's going to burn off and it's going to leave kind of a char on the other side of that baffle, and that'll help us kind of slide it apart. It'll basically be gliding on graphite when it comes back apart. So go ahead and let it eat that stack right like that. Tension it down, front cap, hand tight, back a quarter turn. Tighten it down in there. Then we take the front module that we talked about and we thread that on there. Tighten that down on the front. And then we'll take a tool and finish that. Quick drip pan, suppressor. And in closing, I would be lying to you if I told you that I cleaned that entire suppressor by hand. The whole purpose of me doing that was to illustrate the minimum cleaning that was kind of required to get the thing back together, get it functional, and get it back apart the next time that you want to use it, right? I have an ultrasonic cleaner, so I throw all that stuff in there and blast it, and I just walk away for 2 hours and just let it do its thing, right? So if you don't want to invest in that, is Otis's suppressor cleaning kit an effective way to clean a suppressor? Yeah, it is. Absolutely. You can get it done that way, and I would suggest it, especially if you do not have the tools already laying around. But you need some oil, you need some soapy water, and I think their concentrate is probably, I hope they sell that separately, because I'll probably buy a couple bottles of that just to have it for the next time, because you can get a lot of cleaning out with that little bit of concentrate that they send, and I think that it does a better job than dish soap. But anyway, thanks for watching. Cleaning a suppressor.